Alrighty. Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody. That was probably the best start to a podcast I've had. It is Tuesday, the 14th of March at 6:31 p.m. And we're tuning back in live for episode something or other in the 70s, early 70s. And it's like day, I think, 8 of unemployment. But I'm just chilling out. I'm getting ready for my interview tomorrow. I applied for like bloody 8 jobs today. And we need to talk about how fucking demeaning how demeaning it is to apply using like a video application. I feel like it's the most awkward thing because I ask like real generic questions, and then you just have to like record yourself, and then they watch it and they're like, And it just feels so strange and so awkward. But yeah, I just felt like that was a really awkward thing for me to have done. I don't know. This sounds weird in my ears. Maybe it's because I'm not talking directly into the microphone. Is that better? But yeah, and right as I sat down to do that, because I've been procrastinating doing that video thing all day, because I've applied for a bunch of jobs, and I was like, we'll get it done. And so I was procrastinating doing it. And right as I sat down, I got an email or like a notification in like the old sort of intranet system. They had an app for my old business, and they had updated their terms and their bullying policy. And I thought that it was interesting because I feel like they might be in some serious shit if they've got to go back and review their policy. I mean, it could just be like a reminder to all employees, blah, blah, blah. But one thing I did notice, because I read through the whole thing, I'm still in this system because they owe me part of this paycheck. One thing I did notice was that they talked about how bullying wasn't a repeated action. It was unwanted behavior, even if it only happened once. And I was like, that's such an odd thing, right? Because it's so oddly vague, right? Unwanted behavior could be anything. I could yell a little too loud in excitement at something, and someone could get sort of triggered by that or annoyed by that, and then turn around and claim that because I didn't apologize for doing that was unwanted behavior. It only happened once, but it still is bullying by their regulations, by their own standards of what is bullying and harassment. And I just thought it was an interesting thing to note. It was like, you obviously, bullying's not good, and no one should be subject to bullying. But there's a very distinct difference between bullying and harassment and like, I don't know, engagement or mockery or anything like that. And how are you supposed to have a discussion or an engagement with someone about behaviors and about bullying if the first thing they get is like a sit down or a warning or something like that over something they didn't even, because it said in there about like behaviors that even if you didn't mean to do it, it can still be classed as bullying. And so I get that, because there's some things it's like, I'm sure there's employees or some people that could be hired that would just say something super racist without realizing that they've said something racist, right? And so that, for example, could be harassment, and I would completely understand that. But if you're gonna write policy around harassment and bullying, it's got to be super clear and clear cut what is and what isn't, because it's not as vague a topic as you'd think, unless it is, and I'm just completely wrong. But there's so much that, like, because everyone's obviously got different levels of sensitivity to certain things. So, for example, if I turn around, I mean, I'll give you an example. One time we were watching a show, and I can't even remember the show we were watching. And one of the characters that's meant to be like one of the quirky, fit, skinny, hot chicks, she started putting on weight, and we noticed it like halfway through the season, and it was because she was pregnant in real life, but she was like sort of maintaining her character. And I made a joke to Mads, because she'd mentioned that her dad had said it once when she was younger, about her being a heifer, right? A heifer being like a female cow. The insinuation was that she was fat, and did it make her any less attractive? No. Did it make her any less of a person? No. Like all these different things that could have been said or could have been sort of rationalized about it. All these different things that I thought about this actress had nothing to do with it, because in the context of what was said, she'd put on weight, so I called her a heifer, and she was livid. Like she was so upset with me for even insinuating a joke like that. Now, I don't believe that what I had said to her in that particular instance was what upset her. I think it was the feeling behind it, the feeling behind maybe her dad saying it when she was younger. There was a lot more that went into it. Obviously, what I said had upset her, but of what was said, like the thing itself wasn't as big of a deal, because I've made other jokes before about people being fat or whatever, and it's never exclusively about women. So I don't know at the time what happened, but that's an example. So by this policy that I've read, that could be bullying, or that could be harassment. Someone taking something super seriously could be harassment. They also made very clear to note that false claims of bullying and harassment could be met with the same punishment as claims of bullying and harassment. And they also said that claims of bullying and harassment had to be proven, which I also thought was interesting, because they were claiming that I had bullied or harassed somebody, and they had, not only did they not have a discussion with me about it, they didn't prove that I said it. There was no proof. So I just thought that was an interesting concept and an interesting thing. And it was also interesting timing I was just about to sit down and read that and do this like video interview for this business I'm applying for. And as I sit down to do the video interview, I get a notification from my old business that's just got rid of me in regards to that. So I have a feeling that they're updating that in line with whatever Fair Work's telling them to do. I have a feeling that they are probably navigated their way around that and claimed bullying, and they were dealing with bullying and harassment, so they had to remove all the people involved. Arguably, I don't believe that I was I bullied or harassed anybody, but in saying that, I'd also, based on their own rules, I can't defend myself. I can't prove that I didn't, and the person, I only had to do one thing one time to one person for it to be made into a deal that could be a fireable offense. So in all honesty, I feel like I dodged a bullet by leaving the business, or by being made redundant. But it is what it is. Maybe I should go into HR and learn exactly what the entitlements are, because you can't just change the goalposts. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just salty because I'm frustrated by it, because I just feel like their definition and the definition don't match or meet in the middle. And I was employed 4 or 5 months ago. I signed the document. I read everything in the bullying and harassment thing, and I don't think I would jeopardize my employment by repeated behaviors. And so when they turn around, they change it to, it doesn't have to be repeated behavior, it just has to be a single behavior. That changes the definition of bullying entirely. So anyway, what can you do? What can you do? And I think it's interesting too, because it puts you in like this weird position. Like I feel real strange, because they never told me why they got rid of me. So I feel like I am sort of sitting here evaluating all of my behaviors and all of my characteristics as a person, and I don't actually know what it is. And so there's part of me that's like, no, fuck that. I'm a boss bitch. Like, I'm a bad bitch, and I'll do what I want, and I don't give a shit. But there's the other part of me. It's like, why? I really do care, because I don't know what character flaws have led to this misperception of my personality, I guess. Is it something that everybody sees? Is it something that was just didn't gel with this business in particular? Is like what? And because there was miscommunication across the board, from my direct report to her direct report to, and her direct report was who hired me. So like it all sort of comes back around to this weird thing where I sat in this They hired me for the potential of a regional role. I sat in this weird limbo between at working as a casual, getting full-time hours, but not being full-time and not being on a contract. I was being told to operate like a casual, but also achieve like a manager. And then anytime I overextended my role or underperformed in my role, I was up for being criticized. And then as part of trying to make friends and do these things, I pulled a prank on a guy that I had permission from his best friend. Like we prank called him and he got upset. So there's a lot of different like facets to why I feel the way I feel. And then on top of that, the job market's just cooked it. Like there's so many things. Like there's things that obviously beggars can't be choosers, and I don't want to obviously be unemployed for too long. So I want to find some sort of work and some sort of something so I can actually provide income for this household, especially in the times we live in. But at the same time, I don't want to go back and work for a business like the one I worked for previously, where the rules are made up on the fly. And it depends on who's in charge, sort of makes the rules, and how that, how it all operates is based on who's operating the day, who's running the day, who reports to who. You know what I mean? Like bullying and harassment. For example, bullying and harassment only applies to those who are bullying and harassing. Also, it excludes anyone who is bullying and harassing if they're friends with the people in charge. Or you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, it happens in any workplace. People will get away with things other people can't get away with, whatever. But I just feel like it's a dog eat dog world out there, and they're letting Chihuahuas take out Rottweilers by changing the rules. You know what I mean? I don't know how to make that sound any better, but I'm going to leave you on that note. Enjoy the rest of your day.